You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
LSU Day 1 fall camp. Afterwards, Brian Kelly met with reporters, and naturally, given the fact that LSU a year ago was 118th in the country in passing yards allowed, the DBs were going to be a major talking point. And as I went through my practice report, I told you there were some wins for the LSU defensive backs. LSU had 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions in the 7-on-7 periods. Harold Perkins had an interception. Kylan Jackson, Ashton Stamps, P.J. Woodland. Yeah, and by the way, Bernard Causey dropped an interception, so it was almost 5 interceptions on the day. Your DBs made plays. And I'm going to tell you, I joked with one of the sports information staff members. I said, who's more vulgar, Brad Davis or Corey Raymond? Those two guys, let them fly. And they have high expectations for their players. I'm going to tell you, in the second 7-on-7, so the first thing we got to see was 11-on-11. And then later then they did individuals. Then they went to a 7-on-7, more individuals, then went back and did more 7-on-7, which was the last thing we got to see. And in that last 7-on-7 period, I stood like almost behind the secondary, and Corey Raymond was in the back. Like, so imagine if the offense was starting at midfield and they were playing half the field. Corey Raymond was like at the goal line, right behind his secondary. That was the view he wanted. And I'm going to tell you, it was a relentless verbal barrage today by Corey Raymond. Not in an insulting way, but in an, I'm going to push you. I don't care that it's day one. I'm going to push you to every length you can. There was a point where Michael Turner, freshman defensive back, was guarding Kyron Lacey. I don't know why. It's just the way the rotation was going. This was in 7-on-7. But Michael Turner ended up guarding Kyron Lacey, and Lacey had a great catch, high-pointed a ball on the right sideline. And Corey Raymond yells at Turner, like, welcome to college football, get your behind in the weight room, in a very, very aggressive way. Let's put it that way. Ashton Stamps, Raymond was all over him about not coming out for a rep, staying in there, getting in shape. I mean, it was just that kind of thing, and I think it just spoke to it reminded me because Brandon Taylor was with us yesterday on the show, and he talked about the attitude, the mentality, and the intangibles. I don't love to harp on intangibles because you have to have a physical ability, but so much I think of this team was just wrecked mentally a year ago, those DBs, and they have to be taught a different way. And Corey Raymond is certainly doing that. Now, good news that Brian Kelly shared was about Zy Alexander, who was your best defensive back a year ago, tore his ACL, was out there today but didn't participate in any of the drills. Here was BK on Zy Alexander.
He's been cleared for everything. But I think it's similar to John Emery, right? I mean, John's cleared for everything. But when you have a knee, you need to experience some things like getting tripped up in the hole or cutting off of it and feeling the scar tissue and going, oh my goodness, that's what that feels like. So I think Alexander's got to go through, planting and cutting and feeling that. And so he's full go, but he's in that process of getting back into football activities. And that sometimes takes some time before you feel real comfortable.
As soon as we see Zy Alexander taking reps, of course, we'll talk about it here and let you know how that looks. In the meantime, today your first-team cornerbacks, day one, were Sage Ryan and Ashton Stamps. That's notable because in spring, Sage Ryan took every rep at safety. I asked Brian Kelly at SEC Media Days when I had my one-on-one with him about Sage Ryan and if he was sticking at safety, and he didn't say that they had made any decision, and clearly he was being truthful because day one, Sage Ryan was taking every rep at cornerback. Here was Brian Kelly after practice on Sage Ryan.
Yeah, we're cross-training him. You know, we got a lot of work. You know, certainly he played corner for us last year, as you know. We wanted the entire spring to be safety, and now we're going to begin that cross-training. So we feel like he'll become, you know, that one player that can play both positions for us.
It'll be interesting to see where he falls. It's worth noting that while Sage Ryan was playing corner, the starting safeties day one back there were Jordan Gilbert and Jordan Allen. Those were your starting safeties. And, of course, Major Burns is playing that star position. That's something we're going to have to get accustomed to, talking about in Blake Baker's defense. Your second corners were P.J. Woodland and J.K. Johnson, both who had nice moments. P.J. Woodland had an interception. He had a great pass breakup as well. There was a really nice play by J.K. Johnson against Kyle Parker where J.K. Johnson pinned Kyle Parker on the sideline and forced an incomplete pass. I'm telling you that the DBs made some nice plays today. Like, get it. It was day one. I'm not trying to overreact to it, but a year ago, day one was so overwhelming in favor of the offense, and it just never got better for the defense. It was more of a fair fight day one. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And I'm sure the defense will have good days and the offense will have really good days. But it was nice to see the defense go make plays. Now, P.J. Woodland made some of them. And as a result, and he was a guy who was taking reps with the ones in spring, Brian Kelly was asked about P.J. Woodland here day one.
We like PJ, and we love his competitiveness. But if you remember, he made a great play, and then the next play, we threw the ball over his head, if you remember that. With young players, we're looking for consistency, and he has got a huge upside, and he's going to be a really good player in the SEC. But in the SEC, you make one play, they're coming right back at you, and they're going to test you. So we've got to test the mettle of our young players, and we've got to see consistency of performance, and it'll be about his consistency or Ashton Stamps' consistency or Sage or whoever we roll out there, and that's kind of what we'll be looking for with a lot of our younger players.
By the way, the sequence Brian Kelly talked about there where he made the nice play and then they went over his head, it was the last two plays of the final 7-on-7 period. I told you we got to see an 11-on-11 period and then two 7-on-7 periods. And let's see, in that last 7-on-7 period, Nuss ran 6 reps, Ricky Collins ran 4, Nuss was back in for 2, A.J. Swan had 4, and then Colin Hurley got 3 plays. And the final 2 plays, the first play, it was a deep ball to Xavion Thomas down the right sideline, and P.J. Woodland came up with a great pass breakup. It was right in front of Corey Raymond, too. The very next play, it was Kylan Billiot, who's wearing number 82, the freshman. Kylan Billiot, from Terrebonne, went deep down the middle and just burned right past P.J. Woodland and Joel Rogers, who was playing safety, and they went over the top and for a touchdown on the final play. So that's what Kelly's talking about, is developing some of the consistency there, where you saw some really good plays by P.J. Woodland. You also saw some not great plays. So day one, but if I had one gigantic, exhale takeaway, it was the defense made plays, which they didn't do at all, ever, last year. And they made plenty of them day one.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.